news today is not that we're introducing a bill to curtail the use of phosphorus. The news today is, how could we have waited so long to do this? There are 11 other states that have recognized the harm that this chemical does to our water bodies and which have taken steps to curtail its use. The truth is that phosphorus fertilizer does nothing to help an established lawn. And yet when you or I go to the hardware store because we wish for our lawn to be lusher, what's on the shelf but a product containing something which is very harmful to the environment and does nothing to help with the problem we're trying to address. Now, the lesson that I've learned as an elected official is that the best laws don't always emanate from the minds of legislators. Rather, well then, for some of you that's not news. But in fact, the best laws usually emanate from our constituents, people that call us on the phone, read something, and then suggest to us to do something responsible. And in this case, Tom McGowan, who is a veteran at suggesting responsible, thoughtful laws for Connecticut, called me last month and said, Andrew, why don't we join these other states in limiting the use of phosphorus? And probably 10 years ago, Tom called me and said, why are we allowing invasive plants to be sold in this state? Both plants that are taking over our land and plants which, if they end up in our waterways, are incredibly noxious. And through Tom's leadership and efforts, we were able to establish the Connecticut Invasive Plants Council and take affirmative steps to address that situation. So I want to thank Tom, because without Tom, we wouldn't be here today.
Thank you so much.
And I want to thank each and every one of you. All of you, I'll take just a minute to say, and I'll forget someone and tell me when I do, but we have Larry Marsicano, who's the director of the Candlewood Lake Authority and the president of the Connecticut Federation of Lakes, Dick Labick from Highland Lake, Connie Trolley from Bantam Lake. We have Dave Robinson from Lake Roraback. We have the Mathises from Twin Lakes. We've got Don and Bill from Lakeville Lake. We've got Linda and Paul. We've got Linda Paul from Lake Roraback. But we have so many water bodies represented here today, and it's because all of you care so deeply about preserving and protecting these that I hope that the legislature will take this product off the shelf, or at least make sure it doesn't end up in the wrong hands in this legislative session. So with that, I'd like to introduce everyone to State Representative Clark Chapin. Clark and I happen to be the ranking members of the legislature's Environment Committee, which gives us a little bit of an inside track in terms of bringing this issue to the committee's attention this year. And I'm delighted that Clark is here. Clark lives in New Milford, a longtime supporter of Candlewood Lake and other lakes in that part of the county. So Clark, I turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and it is a pleasure to be here today and be joined by so many advocates for our lakes and streams. As Andrew said, we're both ranking members on the Environment Committee, and in all 12 years of my time in the General Assembly, I've been on the Environment Committee, including the last 10 as ranking member. And session starts the day after tomorrow, and we're all looking forward to that. And I know the chairs of the Environment Committee as being thoughtful and open-minded individuals who truly care about the environment, and I'm sure Andrew and I will hopefully have a lot of success selling them on this idea, because it is a short session. There is some effort to keep the number of bills to a minimum during the short session, but I'm confident that even raising the issue here today helps in a number of ways in educating consumers and landowners as to the difficulties that arise when we use phosphorus in not so thoughtful ways. So thank you all for being here.
And I forgot to tell you what the bill's going to do. And I'll take 30 seconds to tell you what it is that we intend to propose. We're modeling our legislation off of successful legislation in Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. The first thing our bill is going to propose is that there be no application of phosphorus within 20 feet of a water body. And I mentioned our lakes, I neglected to mention our rivers, and Margaret Miner, Lynn Werner here representing the rivers of Connecticut. So the first thing is a 20-foot prohibition or setback on the application of phosphorus fertilizer. The second thing is a prohibition on the use of any phosphorus fertilizer between November 15th and April 1st. When the ground is frozen, the stuff just washes into the lakes and into the rivers. The third thing is a prohibition on residential use of the product. And when stores sell this stuff, they're going to have it in a separate place with clear warning to the consumer what the harmful effects of using it are. Because when I went to the hardware store in Litchfield on my way down, this is on the shelf, but consumers need to see this it needs to be in a separate place, and it needs to be identified as being unlawful for use in residential settings. Like the other states, we're going to balance the needs of agriculture. Most states have an exemption for agriculture. We're going to engage the agricultural community, the recreational golf course community, to make sure that we strike an appropriate balance. So that's in a nutshell what the bill is doing. It's doing two other things with respect to the state's Clean Water Fund. Our Clean Water Fund does not now give credit for sewer plants which are trying to limit the discharge of phosphorus. This is a big problem in the state of Connecticut, and we're mandating a lot of sewer plants to upgrade to eliminate phosphorus. So we want to treat phosphorus the same way we treat nitrogen, give people extra credit when they take steps to reduce phosphorus discharge into our rivers. So